Today we're going to be talking about the ancient Mayan, Olmec, and Aztec civilizations. So, the Olmec civilization was at its peak from 1200 BC to 400 BC.
They mostly hunted and gathered for their food and lived off the coast of the Gulf of Mexico.
They lived in rainforests that had fruits, like guava.
The Olmecs also hunted for ducks, turkeys, boars, and deer.
They used slash and burn techniques to clear land for farming. This enriched the soil for good farming. They planted mainly corn, beans, and squash along riverbanks that had rich soil after the summer floods that they could use.
La Venta is the location of a large mound with a smaller one behind it, and a plaza, which is surrounded by stone pillars. In this plaza, there are 4 stone heads. These heads are carved with tools used to grind stone for religious purposes. The helmets on the heads each have a symbol which stands for their name.
They had many gods, which means they practiced polytheism. There were gods of fire, rain, and sun. They also made sacrifices to their gods. Many gods were represented with animals. Jaguars were the most powerful of the animals. Olmec men and women were known to have worn earrings, bracelets, and necklaces of jade and other stones. They also wore headdresses. Many beads have been found with small carvings.
They played a ball game with rubber balls made up of tree sap. They believed to have traded with other civilizations in Middle America. Some of their artifacts have been found in central Mexico, 300 miles north from their civilization.
The Mayans had a developed civilization around 2600 BC in Mexico and Central America. They had many great achievements in mathematics and astronomy and had a writing system. They had many farmers, potters, builders, and weavers. They had pyramids that were used by priests. These priests were very important because Mayans believed they truly spoke to the gods. They believed in many gods, and certain animals represented certain gods. For example, a bat is the symbol for the god of death. Humans were believed to be created out of corn and water. Animals were sacrificed as a way to appease the gods because they controlled the crops. They would also practice bloodletting or piercing to bring rain.
The ball game, to settle disputes, was inherited from the Olmecs, and prisoners played for their lives. In this game, if you lost, you were put through extreme torture and became a sacrifice for the gods. The object was to get a rubber ball through a hoop without your hands. They had a detailed calendar with 20 day names, which were symbols, and a ritual calendar, which had 260 days. They were the only ancient civilization with the concept of 0, which had its own symbol. The other numbers were represented by dots and bars. They had 800 different images that described their history through their writing system. It was the most advanced pre-colonial time.
The Aztec built their empire through warfare and trade. They began as farmers, but quickly became warriors as farmland was scarce. They built strong partnerships with other empires to build their strength. The people they conquered provided them with tributes, or cotton, gold, or food. The Aztecs maintained a strong trade network. They soon became the most powerful state in Mesoamerica. They built a capital at Tenochtitlan and developed stone canals and raised roads, as well as large temples, markets, and palaces. The Aztecs had social classes containing kings and nobles, priests and warriors, merchants and artisans, and farmers and slaves.
They pleased their gods through sacrifice, including that of humans. They created a calendar and used plants as medicine. They kept records through writing and oral tradition and passed down stories, riddles, and speeches. Conquistadors from Spain, led by Hernan Cortes, sought wealth from the Aztecs. They reached Mexico, and the Aztec leader at the time believed that Cortes was a god. He sent gifts and gold, but the Spanish wanted more, taking Moctezuma prisoner.
The Aztecs temporarily drove off the Spanish, but were eventually defeated by the strong Spanish and their empire ended. Alliances created by the Spanish, strong weapons, geography, and disease led to the defeat of the Aztecs. They made strong allies, used cannons, armors, swords, and horses, and cut off the Aztec capital from food, resources, and water, bringing deadly diseases. Take a moment to read the quiz questions and then pause and consider your answers.